What does a boost do? I don't do nothing.
Got it.
This is crazy. I don't like that at all. Oh well. Guess I'll be out of space today. I don't know how to fix it.
Everybody's still now.
Miss Latoya, I'm in outer space every day.
It's okay. That's funny though. I don't even know how I got there. How you guys doing this morning?
Cold.
I know.
Yeah. I was just so grateful that we didn't have so much that the electricity went out.
Yes.
God.
Yeah, I'm so grateful for that.
I was praying.
Okay, is there a way I can see all of us? Like, can we do like, let me see.
I think you can. If you go up to the right, you see view. You can put it on gallery, and it'll allow you to see
Yeah, I
everything.
can tell I don't know how to do this stuff. Okay, let's see.
Unfortunately, I know more about Zoom than I ever wanted to know.
Okay, where do I go, Kyle?
Okay, if you look over in the top,
participants?
well, if you look in top right, you'll see view. You see a little, it's like 9 little dots. And then you
Mine's
see
at the bottom.
Okay.
Mhm.
And then you'll
Okay.
see, and then you'll
I
see
see.
speaker, gallery.
Yeah.
You go to gallery, it'll allow you to see everybody.
Mm. Mm. I see participants.
So yeah, participants should allow you to see. Now, we've got a lot of folks on, so you're gonna have to, on the left and the right, you had these little arrows, so you can toggle and see everybody that's on. It's quite a few people. Quite a few people on though.
It works. No, I can't go. Oh shoot, I gotta learn how to use this thing.
Dr. Miller is going to offer a free class.
Yeah, we need
I don't know
it.
how much help I would be, but yeah, I'll try.
It may be because I have okay, I did that. Okay, I see.
And Andrew's at the
Maxine,
We Are the World
Mayor, Kyle.
Administrative Center.
Is it just 4 of us?
No, ma'am.
No, everybody's on.
Okay, I see Miss. Okay, is here Miss Sandy? Okay, I see everyone now. Okay.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Morning. Hey.
All right. Please ignore my outer space. I don't know how it got on there. My background.
That's cute.
Okay.
Good morning, everybody. Like to call the meeting to order.
Okay.
It's Mr. Monday. John. So, Mr. Miller, if you would you lead us off in prayer and with the pledge and the following?
Dear Heavenly Father, we just bless you. We thank you, Lord, for this time together, even as the weather has been doing kinds of crazy things. We bless you that we are safe. We pray blessings and safety on our families. And we just look forward to a very productive and very fruitful meeting today as we are guided by your spirit to make decisions that are based upon your principles and your word. And so we just thank you for it in Jesus' mighty name. Amen.
Pledge allegiance to the flag
of the United States
States of America, and to the republic for which stands one nation
under
God, indivisible,
with
liberty
Liberty and justice for all.
All right, Madam Clerk, will you call the roll, please?
Dr. Miller,
Here.
Ms. Miller,
Here.
Ms. Harris,
Here.
Mr. St. Columbia,
Here.
Mr. Etherly,
Here.
Ms. Davis.
Here.
And I'll also note that Mayor Franklin, Chief of Staff Valley, the City Clerk Ramsey are also on. Okay, it's yours, Mayor.
Thank you,
I
Madam
can't-
Clerk.
Okay.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. Well, I've sent out a budget and you all had the liberty to any discussion about it. So I sent it out early this morning with some changes. So if you all like to discuss that or do anything, we can discuss and see which one we all want to do. There's been another budget issued by Dr. Miller as well, but I want to see what's the feel on what I presented to you all with the changes.
Can you kind of summarize the changes?
Yes. What I do is, then the chief of staff worked on this morning. I'll let him chime in. So we got is Mr. Monday gonna put that on where they can see it, the changes. What's that?
Yeah.
But yeah, Mr.
Here.
Oh, okay.
My glasses, I can't see. It's-
Okay, Joshua, I'm sorry, I was mute. Can you go to the second page, please, Josh?
Hey, Mayor Franklin, this is Joshua Mundy. Whenever you guys are done with looking over this first page, you can let me know and I can
Yeah.
take the second page.
Yeah. Can I make a comment about the first page? Or ask some questions? Okay. Whereas the mayor should have charge of the day-to-day operations of city government, that's completely in line. Be it resolved that the city council hereby directs that no pay increases based upon merit, completion of a probationary period, market adjustment, or any other kind shall be granted without its express consent during the budget year. Can you talk about that a little bit?
Yes, that's the standard language that they put in the budget ordinances or resolution for a number of years to keep the mayor from giving a pay rate. Otherwise, the mayor, as long as he does not exceed the total budget, he can give pay raise as he decides to get. So that's so the council will be informed if anybody gets a pay raise at any time.
Okay.
Well, Mr. Money, can you go to page 2? I can't see the bottom of the page, and that's what I'm really trying to look at. So down at the bottom, because we didn't change all the numbers, the treasurer didn't give us the actual data document. We had a PDF format, so these changes were made by hand. And so at the completion of the rest of this, our budget projection is that the general fund balance or surplus will be $64,651.14. The street department will be $37,313.19, and no change in the other line item, the 295,633. All right, you go to the next page, Joshua, page 3. So then on page 3, on the non-elected officials, it has public works. Okay. On the non-elected officials, the public works / chief of staff, that is put there to illustrate that the position that the chief of staff is taking on replaces what was the public works director. And so the pay in 2022 at $81,037, and for 2023, $65,000. That executive secretary position, it had a blank number there because that is a new name, but it's not a new position. It would be replacing the chief of staff position as the secretary to the mayor. And the chief of staff in 2022 was paid $49,920, and the executive secretary, which would be replacing her, will be paid $42,000. It does add this purchasing officer position as well. And then if you go on down, you see it's changed negative $14,500. That means that the bottom line shrunk by $14,500 when you count the pay change and the fringe benefit. And by going through and come back to this, I can make it all work together. Josh, you go to page 4. Scroll on down to the area where there's some changes. And so on page 4, the change is to looks like the assistant chief position was reduced in salary to $45,000. The change, including benefits, is $14,346.40, and that's a positive impact on the bottom line. So it takes the bottom line up. Then if you go on to the next page, on the landfill, the proposed budget in 2023 shows $53,560. The mayor reduced that to $50,000, which cuts out $3,560. And on that second line, the foreman is reduced from $42,000 to $40,000. But with the fringe benefits, that comes up a positive $7,286.40 to be added to the bottom line. Next page, in the police department, the change on line 1 with the chief, the chief in December was paid $74,984, and the proposals in this budget to pay the current chief the same salary. It's just showing a typo there where it looks like he was getting a pay raise, but it's the same salary that was paid to the previous 2 chiefs of police. Then the assistant chief position was removed in terms of pay, and we added a lieutenant at a savings of about $16,000, $17,000, and with the fringe benefits, it's $23,184.34. And then the part-time officers we got down here to be discussed, and we'll come back to that, but to be discussed is that you're fully funding 41 law enforcement positions in the police department. we have not over the course of years been able to fill all those positions. And Chief Bell had mentioned the need for some part-time positions. So probably be a responsible thing to take out some of the full-time positions and put the money into the part-time positions as opposed to merely leaving it at this one part-time position. So that you have better cover for the part-time officers many times work that 3 to midnight time frame when there's a lot of activity in the evening after without work, over ball games or plays or theaters or whatever going on in our community. All right, we can go to page 7, Joshua. On page 7, sanitation department basically did the same thing on the salary cut as it did in the landfill. Took it down from 53,560 to 50,000, and their second position down from 42,000 to 40,000. But their fringe benefits are a little higher, so the savings was $8,340 on that position. And the street department, what the mayor's elected to do is to not have a director at this time, have a 4-person and use a sanitation 4-person to assist in street and sanitation. Use the sanitation director to assist in street and sanitation. And you got 4-person and then just added a equipment operator at the $36,000 range for a total savings of $25,738.19. Okay, Josh, we go to the next page. This is the water department, and the one change made there, we didn't calculate the fringe benefits because it's going to go down, which will make the bottom line go up. And that is that billing clerk position. The person without calling the name is the person who's been employed since 1999. And there have been significant pay raises around this person, but this person didn't get pay raise. And so the treasurer put in $49,920. And the mayor thinks we ought to move in smaller chunks than that, so you don't get people in the habit of getting $10,000, $15,000 pay rate. Because the city just can't do that. But from a fairness standpoint and institutional memory standpoint, this person is very valuable to the water department and to the city. Matter of fact, she may be the longest serving person on the payroll in the water department. So we need to keep her, and she needs to get a pay increase. And we discussed it with her. This is less than what she wanted, but certainly more than what she has. And so we hope that the council will go along with that. And with that, we're on page 8 of 9. What's on page 9? On page 9 is just our calculation we use. That's of no report at all. That's just what we use to add this thing up. Yeah, that's just how we figured up the fringe benefits and the costs and all those things. It will take me a while to make that make sense to you, but I know what it is. And so that's the mayor's budget that he amended after the treasurer emailed it to you guys yesterday, I believe it was. But then we didn't have the benefit of the digital data, so we had to do it by hand. That's the issue.
Does anybody have any questions?
I do. I have a few.
Yes.
The first question is, so if I'm hearing you correctly, Mr. Valley, with this new proposal we have, there would be no chief of staff. Well, basically, the mayor would have an administrative assistant, executive administrative assistant, and we will have a public works person who supervises city street and sanitation.
Well, no, what I'm saying is that we renamed the public works the chief of staff.
Okay.
So the chief of staff is going to do more than secretarial kind of stuff.
Okay.
The former chief of staff basically worked in the mayor's office inside the building and dealt with that stuff. As chief of staff in this position, whether it's me or somebody else takes this position, get out in the field, making sure stuff is being done, assisting the mayor with supervision, like checking on the landfill, make sure we're in compliance and make sure people understand what must be done. All of those kinds of day-to-day operational things. It also frees up the mayor to do some of the larger things that need to be done, like applying for grants and meeting with people like the guy from the Corps engineer that was coming down and meet with him the other day at the council because of snow and ice. So it frees up the mayor to do some other things, because if you don't, you can get tied up in the day-to-day operation to where you can't get much done because there's so many moving parts. Trucks breaking down and all that kind of stuff. It just becomes a difficult thing to do all of that.
I guess I do, be honest with you, I do have some concerns about that, because to me, it didn't seem like you would have a clear designation or separation of duties. So you got a chief of staff, which typically, like in most political situations, is going to be like a liaison for the admin team. And they're also going to serve in any type of capacity as that right-hand man, deputy, or whatever for whoever the chief dog is, which in our case would be Mayor Franklin. And so then if you're doing that and you're also serving in public works, it just seems like that there would be too much of an amalgamation of duties. And I do have some concern about that. I was also going to ask you, so does the assistant chief position go away? I didn't see that page. It may have I just missed it.
It did not go away.
Okay, so we still have okay, because I saw in the
police department the assistant chief position was zeroed out from a financial standpoint. And what the mayor intended to do is to allow the chief to groom somebody.
Okay.
Maybe the same person.
Okay.
Either one of these, just a political appointment. Like
gotcha. So it's not budgeted for right now. And then the assistant fire chief, do we have in this budget will we have an assistant fire chief?
That's the assistant fire chief in the budget.
Okay. And then do we pay fringe for part-time employees? We pay fringe and benefits for part-time.
That's going to be, well, when we use the word fringe in these budgets, we typically are talking about the taxes in addition. The taxes are included along with retirement and other stuff.
Yes,
so there's some fringe benefits on part-time.
Okay.
That's not health care, that's not the retirement. Not with all of them.
Okay. I was asking that because I was thinking, I said, well, if we, although part-time is not really the best way to go, we might get some savings, with some part-timers, as opposed to full-time employees, full-time employees. That's what I was thinking.
In the police department, you're likely to actually get some people if you have some part-time positions. Where some people may work for a little less money and it's part-time as opposed to just being their full-time job. I mean, like the one we do have, he's been here for, I don't know, he was at 10 or 12 years before I became the mayor. He's still here. But his day job, maybe at Southern Hardware somewhere. And so, he wouldn't need that to become a police officer. And we may have several people who could be good officers to help us with scheduling, limit overtime and stuff like that by doing the part-time, and they don't get the full set of fringe benefits.
Okay, thank you.
But on the one other thing, on the amalgamation you mentioned, I think
yes, sir.
Point. But I'm not saying that I'd be the public works director. I'm saying the chief of staff is taking the place of that in this.
Oh, I see. So you're saying we're eliminating the public works position.
That's right.
Okay, I'm all right with that. I just because I never really saw a purpose for it. I think maybe in a previous administration that position was created, but I don't see any purpose for it.
I think it was created to give a pay rate. So,
yeah.
So it's no longer needed now.
Okay.
And what? Am I having?
Mayor, if I may interject
You
for
may.
a minute.
Yes, sir.
Good afternoon, everyone. Well, good morning, everyone. As it relates to the public works, I think we're going to change the ordinance if y'all going to eliminate that position. I'm fine with y'all eliminated the city council charge of finances. But last year, or 2 years ago when we adopted, we did do it by ordinance, so we've had to change that ordinance. Also, I apologize for not being on earlier, but just wanted to get a legal opinion about the legality of meeting in this meeting. I discussed it with John Zimmerman this morning at 8 o'clock, and we are authorized because Governor Sanders has issued an emergency order because of inclement weather. We need to ratify all the actions that are done today on the 7th when we have our next city council meeting. And I strongly suggest to remind you all today that today is the final day to do a budget that has to be adopted by before midnight tonight. And so with that, I yield to whomever.
Hey, and Mr. Valley, Mr. James Valley, the water department person, what was his salary now?
What was put in by the treasurer was 90,000, and the mayor didn't change.
Okay.
He asked for 110, and what I just by way of background, when we consolidated, we paid Helena water manager 48,000, paid West Helena water manager 68,000. That's $116,000 who was paying for this combined position in 2006, and so it's gone down over the years. I guess in some fashion. Had we continued down the track, it would probably be higher than what he's asking for. That's not to say what it should be, but I'm just saying that's what the background is. Now, one thing about Brother Valley, you mentioned Zimmerman, but I think you meant Wilkinson, because Zimmerman is no longer with us. Is that right? You said you talked to John Zimmerman, but you meant John Wilkinson. You muted on that. You muted.
Yes, I'm sorry. John Wilkinson, who I spoke with, General Counsel for the Arkansas Municipal League.
Okay.
Any more discussion?
I'm going to go ahead and I'm still going to jump out there by myself, I guess, on this. I still have some serious concerns about some of the positions. And that's just based upon what I was under the impression that we were advised regarding actions made by the meeting at the end of the year to somewhat cease on some of those actions. And y'all correct me if I'm wrong. I'm still concerned about adding some of the positions. I just want to make sure that we're in compliance.
Yeah, I had actually sent over an alternate budget, and basically it was just to look at it without the majority of the positions, newly created positions. Is there any way we could look at it real quickly? Or if Josh can share his screen, I can pull mine up. If he can share, if allow me.
Okay, you should be able to share now.
Okay, let me pull it up. And I'll go through this real quick. Okay, here we go.
Dr. Miller, as you get ready to go through your budget, could you make note and whomever else so we could discuss line item to line item so we all have an understanding of which ones we're talking about that compared to both.
Absolutely. Yes, sir.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome. Okay, can y'all see that? Now, of course, this was I was working from the budget that we received yesterday evening, so it doesn't take into account some of the totals and things. Can y'all see? If somebody can say yes, or you can text.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes. Yeah.
Okay, perfect. Okay, so if you go to the admin, mayor, we know that the mayor was requesting an increase, which we think is in line, and what he is requesting. So that basically didn't change. Chief of staff, which we're saying is now maybe title is something else, would be at the 55 that he was initially or what was initially being requested. There would not be an executive secretary position, nor a purchasing officer. And basically everything else from the budget that we had yesterday basically stays the same. We go to page 2, code enforcement officers. Still looking at the 3 code enforcement officers, which we think is extremely significant. It can actually even be a possible opportunity for funds and revenue. District court did not change. Fire department, the budget basically is staying consistent with the chief and the assistant chief. Landfill, the foreman, I basically alleviated the foreman position, and a lot of these positions too, because if y'all recall, we asked, and I'm not trying to be a butthole, but we asked for job descriptions of what these people do, and so if we don't really know what they do, then we really don't know what their value is. Parks groundskeeper, I removed that position. My thinking of that is with grant writing, I can probably write us a grant to pay for that position. That's typically how that position was paid for in the past. Chief, no changes to the chief. We definitely think the chief deserves, with his time and experience, he deserves what has been budgeted. So many of the things are not were not changed. The foreman for sanitation department, I requested that be removed as well. For the 4-person for street department, we asked that be removed. Water department general manager, I think that this salary should be pretty much comparable to the area. Around 80,000, I think, is a very, very comparable salary, especially when this employer is going to receive full benefits. They're receiving a 100% full benefit package, and to somebody who's middle-aged like we are, that's a big commodity. So you're talking about another 35 to 40% in addition to this 80,000. A billing clerk, completely in agreement with Mr. Valley. This person's salary, the person who's currently in this position, should be compensated at the same salary as the other clerks. Totally agree with that. So nothing really earth-shattering, but primarily, many of the new positions that are being recommended, requesting that they not be funded.
Dr. Miller, may I ask you a question?
Yes, sir.
And this question is also for Mayor Franklin as well. Both of y'all have gone through budgets through either Mr. James Ballard or through Dr. Miller. One of the questions I had as relates to many departments ask for raises for individuals, and I don't think either budget reflects that. And I just wanted to make sure that the people are aware that you all have done a studied approach to that.
I'm glad. I'm glad
if you have any comments, please elaborate.
Yes. So I got with Mr. Turner and I asked him, I said, okay, if we were to give everybody, all non-elected officials, a 3% to 4% cost of living increase, he said that would be anywhere between $215,000 to about $250,000 in addition to the budget, which is going to obviously put us way over budget. But my thoughts are, and it's just me, you know, I know you guys have been doing this way longer than I am. Usually there's always some savings that we haven't accounted for in a budget. Like for instance, Mayor Franklin's been talking about being much stricter on overtime. You know, there's always going to the police department. Let's say we put a freeze, and we know that the police department is not going to fill all those positions. That's going to be some additional savings. And then we come back in around May and we say, hey, listen, we talk to Mr. Turner. We say, hey, what do we have? And let's give all of our non-elected employees a 3 to 4% cost of living increase. Because I think that I agree with you, Attorney Valley, that definitely needs to be on our agenda. But right now, when I added with Mr. Turner, the numbers just weren't there. We just didn't have the funds. But I think we could if we continue with you know, being conservative in our spending. But that's just my humble opinion.
Yes, sir. I just wanted both you all, you and the mayor, to just address the issue because employees will want to know, and to know that you all have taken some studied approach to evaluate their salaries. Mayor Franklin, did you have anything to say about that?
Sir.
I would like to ask just a quick question. If we take both of these budgets that have been presented and we look at what is the bottom line in terms of potential reserve or potential financial benefit and compare them, what are we looking at exactly? What is the savings at the end of the discussion? What does it look like?
Well, with the budget I presented, about $250,000, we would have $250,000 reserve with this budget. So I present.
And with mine would be 64,000.
If I may, just for the sake of everybody having a greater understanding, and I understand, Dr. Miller, you haven't gotten some job descriptions and things of that sort. But for example, cutting operators at the landfill is the worst thing you could possibly do at this time. It's the wet season. We're already behind. We got equipment that's on chain, basically. The 2 track holes that we own, each of them got one leg off, waiting to be repaired. We are renting the track hole that the city council authorized us to rent. Landfill may need to add staff as opposed to doing without staff under these circumstances, or we're going to face greater jeopardy of being shut down. So that's one. The other thing in terms of bottom line comparison, and I, like anybody, would like to have as much of a bottom line savings, as much in reserve, as much to go on bigger projects as we possibly can. But at the same time, city government is intended to deliver services to people. And if you don't have the staff to do that, then you can't do it. So do we save money in this sense, and provide a lower level of service at the same time? Is what that question becomes in terms of whether you should have these people. Because I think there was a person cut out the street department, a person cut out the sanitation department, and I believe those are live individuals. Those would be termination, not just cut out the budget. But those are things that the city council has to consider as they go forward. Now, Mayor Franklin's budget has a surplus of about $2,500 more than what was presented by Mayor Smith in December, which again, neither one of those numbers are great numbers, but we don't have the benefit of having great numbers at this time. It's going to take some time to get there because we're kind of behind the 8 ball in our needs. Right now, we are putting sand out today because of the ice. We're using a backhoe and using enough of a boom truck, and because we don't have a dump truck or a spreader. We just having to make do with all of the things that we have. You know, I'm grateful that the employees are able to improvise. That's my thought on that. And
I guess what because I think what I appreciate you for sharing that, Ms. Valley, and give me a clarification, because when I was looking at the budget and then how it was written, it looked like, when you talk about the sanitation and street, and that was in those sections, it looked like it was a new position, because to my knowledge, we haven't had a foreman job. And so you're saying that somebody who is currently working in those departments are going to basically be moved up into those positions. Is that what I'm hearing?
Well, my understanding in the sanitation department, you got Roosevelt Collins and Wilbur Sprott, those top 2 positions. In the street department, what we did was we had Clarence Allen and Stanley Blocker in those positions, where we took a director position out. So,
I got you.
So
it's kind of like a trade-off. Either you get the quote unquote public works position and no directors, but a foreman, or you get the no, or we go with no city works person, and then the current system where you got a director and a assistant or something of that nature.
Right. Well, you got one person responsible for the department instead of for each department. Or I guess those would be street and sanitation. Where it was in the public works, that person was over street, sanitation, landfill, park, and sometimes they said it was over water. I don't know that, but he supervised at least those 4 positions. Anything that wasn't police and fire, the public works director, basically at hand. And that's really too much for one person in a city with all these moving parts.
Okay. So just clarification, so then the city, so the chief of staff's job duties are changing to manage those particular areas, or are you saying that
the chief of staff job duties are changing to assist in the managing of those? So the sanitation and street people will report to Roosevelt, right? The water people will report to Mr. Murdoch, the fire report to Brown, and police to Chief Bell, and then the chief of staff is liaison between those people and the mayor to make sure those things that need to happen are actually happen. The more on the grounds kind of thing, as opposed to the person that's in the office answering the phone, taking messages, and scheduling appointments, and that type of stuff.
I have a quick comment or question. Dr. Miller, I noticed in the budget that you proposed, you had taken out the executive secretary. I feel that the mayor needs a secretary, and I feel like he has the right to have a secretary.
Yeah, I think that's a good point. When I was looking at the initial thing that I was looking at yesterday, my understanding was that the chief of staff and part of his duties was going to be an assistant of that, which would be helping run the office, assisting in writing executive letters and memos and those types of things, and being his face at particular situations where the mayor can't be. But what it's sounding to me like is a request to kind of change that whole that format and do something else.
Yes.
And so with that being said, I would see the need of if in fact the chief of staff is going to be primarily if we voted this way, the chief of staff is going to be primarily managing street water, sanitation, and possibly whatever else, then obviously he's not going to be able to do any type of administrative things inside the office. So so I'm with you.
I guess some people were probably comparing it to the one that we had in the previous administration. Yeah. But after talking to Mr. Valley, he explained, I guess, in a couple of meetings ago about the duties that he would have, or the duties of the person. So
yeah, I understand that. I mean, definitely got to have somebody that can do admin stuff. Yeah. So I'm with you on that. Thank you.
As far as the purchasing clerk, I'm also trying to save as much as we possibly can, but I do know that our purchasing system has been all over the place. It's, this person is doing this person is doing part of it. There's no order. And I think we need to start with order.
Well, my hope is, if in fact, because obviously I'm one vote and I can easily be outvoted, but if in fact, we look at that purchasing clerk, I'm hoping we get somebody that's highly qualified that has experience in doing that. Because like you said, a purchasing clerk who really has the expertise and experience in that area can be, tremendously helpful.
It's true. That is true. Thank you.
I'm going to insert again, and I guess I'm just the voice by myself. If we have competent department heads, Mr. Murdoch, Mr. Bell, Chief Bell, and the others, I do not understand why they would not be able to handle, and I understand maybe there have been complications in the past, but I think that moving forward with the people that we have in place, especially at the salaries that they're going to be making, I do not know that I understand why there's a need to have what amounts to a follow-up check-in person to manage something that should be a very simple duty for them if they're going to be department heads. I mean, if we come back to the table, say a couple of months from now, and they've been making the salaries that they're making and they still can't do a purchase order requisition, then, there's time to really reevaluate all of that. But for right now, I don't know, given the bottom line that we have financially, given the repairs that we need to make, given the trucks that we need to purchase, given all of the things that our city is lacking, I do not know that I understand why there is a need to have a position that is already or should already be addressed in a job that's already in place. I don't understand that.
If I may respond, Mrs. Miller, because consolidation, the issue has been the city spends millions of dollars a year. At some point, it was 12 million. I don't know what the budget is for you right now, but because the city council has at $5,000 that the mayor has to come for the body, all of these things should be getting tracked by somebody. And spending so much money, if the council ordinance is that you need someone to meticulously keep up with all departments. And I hear your concern. It's a city council decision as to whether you all want to fund it or not. But just historically, what you have is someone was supposed to be keeping up with every expense, every purchase order to make sure people are getting it. Because what happens is The examples that Mr. Turner gave were examples of extreme negligence, where people riding around and with them on the floorboards and turning them in late. But it is an issue that administrations have had. The way it's supposed to work is supposed to be, before there's any dime spent at all, somebody's supposed to document it, give it to city treasurer. City treasurer is supposed to tell what line item it comes from, how much is budgeted for the year, whether we have the funds to make the purchase, the cash flow issue as relating to it. Because one of the issues with the cash flow issue has been, as Madam City Clerk explained at the last council meeting, is how much money is left at the end of each month and when you have cash. And so part of the issue has been the reason why we have $250,000 in unpaid bills is, for some reason, it hadn't been working. The only question I would pose to the body is whether you can afford not to have somebody that meticulously checks all this stuff before all the expenditures go forward. It's up to y'all what to do, but that's just my 2 cents on it. Is some things, while they may not be, on one hand, you may say, well, this is a lot of money to spend for a person. The flip side is we have a history that shows us maybe we can't afford not to have the person, but that's up to you all as to how you all want to do it.
But Mr. Valley, haven't we had a purchasing person before?
In the past 2 administrations, for some reason, the city council has said not to use it.
But if we go back to Mayor Valley, I was looking at some old audits, like from 2010. We had a purchasing person and it didn't go well then. That's what I'm concerned about. So we get a person in there, and then, we got this salary that we're stuck at paying, and we still have the same problems.
Well, the audits in 2009 and 2010 had to do not with the purchase order person, but the issue in that was keeping the receipts for expenditures for travel is the main thing that was happening then. But as it relates to going forward, the purchase order person is someone, but again, y'all are council, y'all are in charge of finances. I was just giving my 2 cents. Y'all can say you don't need the person to settle, or you can say fund it later, whichever way.
But that also goes back to the statement that was made earlier about having or hiring a qualified person, somebody that can do the job.
Well, and I'm looking at Mr. Murdoch, who we're looking at a $80,000 salary. We're looking at Chief Bell, who, these are all people that we've already, or I'm gathering, we have confidence in, who I believe that with their years of experience and their ability to head up departments in the past and do an excellent job, which is why we've got them back, they have the competency to make sure that those duties and those things are taken care of. I just don't see where we would have, I would hope not. I would hope we would not have an issue with them being able to do a purchase order or a requisition or keep up with the financial budgets of their departments. Mr. Brown, I'm sure as well, and whomever else the department heads are. I don't know that right now, if we have to count pennies, if that is really the best way to spend our money.
Well, if I may, I've been through, I guess I'm on mayor number 5 now. And for me, it's an institutional question, because being in the legislative body, the one thing we will never have control of is if the mayor does not compel his employees to follow the process, we can't fire them. And so from legislative or policy making perspective, I think we need one to protect what we're in charge of, which is the money. And I think it's necessary because whether you think this mayor or a previous mayor made excellent personnel decisions, from an institutional standpoint, the next guy may not, and the next guy may not, and the next guy may not. And the stories that I hear about purchase orders or you know, items that the city needs riding around in people's trucks and lack of documentation, I think it's probably cost us more than the actual position pays. And so I do support it in that regard. I understand the theory that everybody should do their job, but I think it hasn't worked for us.
Well,
Well,
and I
go ahead.
really, and I do appreciate that, Mr. Etherly, I really do. But you said something very key. Whether that happened in the past administration, the administration prior to that, before that, what I do know is that it seems to me that Mayor Franklin has hit the ground running. I can't see him not holding these department heads accountable. I could be wrong. I could be totally wrong. But he has said to me on numerous occasions that people are going to do their job. And so I'm waiting to see that happen. Mayor Franklin, that's what you said. You said they're not going to be in my administration and not do their job. And if part of doing their job is keeping up with their paperwork, their documentation, their money, their budget, so forth and so on, then that is what you said you are going to make sure that they do. And so therefore, and like I said, lone voice, but Mayor Franklin, I believe that you'll do that. And with that, we don't need to add a salary that we don't need.
If I may, just a second, Mr. Comment.
Well, okay, I'd like to have the floor in a few minutes. Thank you, sir.
Yes, sir. I just want one thing to say. I think the other person needs to chime in is the city treasurer, because your ordinance says that it's his duty and to go through it all. And I think he'd have to take a more aggressive role with it also if you cut the position out. With that, I yield to Mr. St. Columbia.
Thank you, Mr. Valley. I sat here for an hour and 2 minutes listening to all the pros and cons. And I am a firm believer in allowing the mayor the opportunity to do his job. And I agree with Ms. Maxine about it's his responsibility to get these people to answer to him. And he said that he would see to it, or they would not be in his administration. I am not for opening any new avenues of problems. I'm not for opening any new jobs at this time under the circumstances that's going on. I think these pay raises, we need to take this money instead of pay raises. We need to take care of it and do the things we're supposed to do for this community, like clean this place up. And sure, we need to pay our people that work for us. They're getting the jobs done. There may be some increases in pay that we need to look at closely, but not at this time. I think that we need to pass this budget. I like Dr. Kyle's budget a little bit better because it doesn't have all the new jobs in it, but it still has some increases in salaries. I'm not for those, but I don't think we need to make all these changes right now at this time.
Hey, just a clarification on the assistant chief's position, was that salary reduced or is it staying the same? I didn't get you, because see, I could just flip through the budget, but I don't have it in my hands. So
just reduced. And I have this with all of these salaries increases and all this. For the previous administration, you know, we had a $400,000 overtime. We had a $800,000 in pumps. This is what I'm seeing. I asked you all to work with me, and I'm gonna work with you all. Just like this person officer. When I was on the city council, we approved to have a person officer. We gave the treasurer, if I'm not mistaken, Ms. Davis and Mr. Etherly, Ms. St. Columbia, you all were there to help with the person clerk. We gave him an increase to help with the purchasing clerk. All these things are needed. We didn't project to spend $800,000 in pumps. We didn't project to spend $400,000 in overtime, $200,000 overtime. We didn't project none of that last year, in last year's budget and the year before. What I'm saying is you have to allow to see the process work. And I'm assuring you that the process will work. I understand it may seem like it's new positions, but it's not. It's if you look at his budget neutral, we took from something to add to something to make sure that we can get the numbers that we need to get. I know you are probably, whoa, this is a lot, but I mean, it is what it is, and it's not going to hurt the city. And actually, every person in this administration is going to make sure we are doing something better than last year, the year before. We just have to trust the process. Some of y'all are new. Some of y'all have some, because it's all new to us. It's new to me to be in the mayor, but it's gonna be some trial and error. But I'm saying this, at this point, we need a budget. I need competent people. I understand Mr. Murdoch's salary. We paid $116,000 a couple of years ago for 2 people, and I look at Chief Bell. We had a former police chief who didn't live here, who made sure that people got pay raises by running overtime. We have to factor in all the things that have happened to this point. December 31st was the last day of 2022. January 1st was a new year of 2023. The things that happened then, the guard has changed. I'm here, hit the ground running, and the people I need to help me do this job. I need y'all's support as well. I don't think the city is a cash cow. I don't think that we're gonna run out and just do whatever. As you see today with the sanitation department, I was putting sand out. We didn't have that. We putting sand in neighborhoods, putting sand up at the nursing homes. We got folks working. The street light, the boiler, all these small things, but I need people in place. What I can't see, they gotta see. What I don't know, they gotta know. It's just like the city council is in charge of finance and real property. Whatever y'all say goes, but I need to make sure that I'm not a one-term mayor and I'm a successful mayor. And all what I'm asking for is what I need. And I yield back to whoever. The floor is open for discussion.
I think that maybe tweaking. So, okay, as a citizen, I'm looking at both budgets and I'm seeing where one budget has a certain amount, the other budget has another amount in terms of funds that would be in our coffers when we get through. I'm saying that if we could maybe tweak, if there's a budget with $250,000 potential to have in our coffers when it's all said and done, it just sort of makes sense to me that we would tweak that and try to go with something that we could at least have a little bit more money to work with. I understand that the mayor, and we keep talking about, adding this salary and adding that salary and raises and bonuses and all of that stuff. At the end of the day, I do recognize that it's going to take some positions that we add a little bit more to, but then there're just some positions that I'm just back to my old whipping boy. I just don't see the purpose in it. I don't see the need for it. And so if there's a way we could tweak a budget where you can have $250,000 in surplus, to me, that makes more fiscal sense.
And I understand, Ms. Miller, but when the chief of staff and Mr. Miller was talking, there were positions key positions that we needed, like from the street department, from the landfill. Those are some key positions that was cut out of the budget, the existing budget, and what we are operating on now. I think it was a couple people in the landfill, street department, and sanitation that were cut. So, I mean, and what he cut out was key positions that we already fund. You got directors and deputy directors he cut out to get to the number. Because he didn't, if I'm correct, Mr. Miller, you didn't know that we were using those positions. Am I correct about that?
No, I was told these were newly created positions, and when I asked around city employees, you know, in the various departments, nobody knew what those positions were. So that's why I thought those were new positions, because even everybody in the various departments, when I contacted them, they didn't know what that job was.
I mean, but
A foreman. So I don't know what that, you know, what that used to be called, but nobody knows what that job is.
It's still foreman. Excuse me, the late Mr. Ernest Womack was a foreman. You got a foreman now. He is Mr. What is his name? Clarence Allen. You got Mr. Stanley. You got Stanley.
Was it called a different? It was called something else. Was it a different?
It was still the same thing. Because you got a deputy director at the landfill. You got actually maybe 4 of those. So I mean, a lot of things that you cut, we already fund. So it's not you didn't know, because I mean, I guess people didn't know what to tell you, but those people were still in that we replaced.
Because there wasn't a line item from the year prior.
So I mean, and that's just a miscommunication, but those people are already funded. So it won't be a $250,000 I would say, because those people still are employed. And if we cut this, Ms. Miller, that means those people be fired to go home without a job. And they are our employees, right? Active employees right now. So that's $150,000 for 3 employees right there. So it wouldn't be a savings because they currently work. That's Mr. Blocker. That's Mr. Allen. That's
So what are their job titles now, and what are their salaries?
It's, I think, Mr. If you go currently, each one of those people are deputy directors. We put deputy director.
So getting rid of the title of deputy director, is that
right?
And you call him a foreman now.
Well, we see. I'm sorry, Mr. Beth.
I just want to interject in between both of you all. I think you all be more productive either looking at the Mayor Franklin proposal or Dr. Miller proposal and go through line item, so we would stop talking in terms of, well, this says this says that. So we'll talk specifically about the specific thing, and then the specific objection can be made, and we can move through line item by line item and get to the parts that you disagree with. Because I don't think there are many positions you disagree with. From listening to Dr. Miller's presentation, it seemed like it was less than 10. But I think that if you go down through it, so we all have a complete understanding, because I think part of this is miscommunication in the sense that some of it has been renamed and some are actual objections, but we're just trying to get to that point where we can go through it. And so if you start at the top of one and go down through it, you may be able to go through it pretty quickly, because it doesn't seem like between all the things that have been stated that the two sides, well, I'm not saying two sides, the two individuals have that many difference in objections that have stated them. But I think that would be a healthier conversation that we can get to without, well, this budget says this or this budget says that. If we just went down it, then we can just, and the issue that you all want pulled out, we can pull out and just keep on going. That's just a suggestion.
Okay.
Well, I got a different approach that I think may be more fruitful. Well, I guess this is resolution number 1. Whatever we're working on is resolution number 1. Clerk, please correct me if I'm wrong.
It would be resolution number 3.
Number 3. Okay. I'm going to make a motion to adopt resolution number 3, that being the mayor's proposed budget, with one correction made to it in my motion. Page 3, Parks and Recreation has a groundskeeper at $30,000. I'm going to, in the motion, propose that be 0, so that position not be funded at this time. So the motion will be to adopt the mayor's budget, resolution 3, with that change, 0 being the groundskeeper. And then if they give us a second, then in the discussion phase, we can address all these different line items.
Second.
Mr. Anthony move. to adopt resolution number 3 with the change of taking out the groundskeeper. Ms. Davis seconded. Madam Clerk, will you call the roll? Oh, no, I'm sorry, discussion.
Okay, and we're only talking about that one position, correct?
We're gonna go through one thing at a time.
No, I think the whole thing is up for discussion. That I wanted to include that in the motion because I wanted to, that was a position that I wanted to address. And at this time, I thought maybe we could do without that one. So that's why I included it in the motion, but anything anybody wants to talk about, I guess the floor is open to that now.
I think we can, and I truly think we can get some funding to pay for that position. And I'll start working on that immediately tomorrow.
Thank you, Dr. Miller. I'm fine with that.
Because I think it's a position that's needed, but I think we can get it paid for another way. I mean, I don't think, you know, when look, I'm a realist. I don't think, you know, we have the votes, you know, so we can just go ahead and put this to a vote, and we'll be on our side, and whatever, and there'll be another vote, because I don't think we're gonna. I just don't think we're gonna come to an agreement. There's two different philosophies, you know, and I'm not quite sure we will come to an agreement. So I think we just go ahead and put it to a vote, and if what Mr. Ethley passes, and if it fails, it fails. That's my view. Because I think our philosophies are just too far apart.
Well, hopefully, I would like to see us on the same page. But I mean, it's up for Madam Clerk. You call the roll. If there's no more discussion.
I got something I want to say. Yes, I think we're moving in the wrong direction here. Remember, there's a lawsuit filed here, and I don't think we need to make any changes. I think we're going to get ourselves in trouble. So I'm not going to be supportive of it. That's all I want to say.
We've complied with everything that the judge has ordered in that case.
Yes, if I may, since Mr. Columbia said it, the city has not done anything on the base pay, nor has the city done anything on the conflict of interest ordinance. The city has a duty to pass a budget. And so this is just simple budget matter. And as it relates to the lawsuit, the Municipal League is going to defend that lawsuit, Mr. St. Columbia. And that the lawsuit, the only thing the council did was voted in the legislative body. There's been no considerations about the spending limits that's already in place and et cetera. But I don't want to go through that whole case. But passing a budget does not run afoul of the purported temporary restraining order and the extended temporary restraining order, because you have a duty to pass a budget.
Yes, we can pass a budget. We can take the old budget, rename it, and pass it, and continue on with it until this lawsuit's over.
Well, one of the issues about it is neither a judge nor a plaintiff can tell you how to vote on a budget. It's your duty relating to the finances.
That's correct. That's true. And we can take the old budget that we've got, not create any new positions, and which I'm opposed to. And I think that we can take the old budget, rename it, and vote on it, pass it, and continue on with the city's operation until after we decide on this other. So that's my position, sir.
I understand, and to be clear, your position on the money and the positions and pay, whatever it may be as it relates to the budget, that can be valid, legitimate. You can be opposed to it, you can be for it. But the conflation and confusion with the lawsuit is not, it doesn't apply. The lawsuit has nothing to do with this budget process.
Okay.
Right. In addition, the lawsuit the lawsuit, they alleged irreparable harm about a boiling order that didn't even exist at the time the lawsuit was filed. And so you passing the budget has nothing to do with the boiling order, boil water order.
I'm not saying it has anything to do with the boiling order, boiling
No,
water.
I didn't say what. No, Mr. St. Columbia.
Why are you bringing that up?
Because that's what the restraining order is about, and that's why it's ridiculous the way the lawsuit is drafted, because it was about a boil order, irreparable harm, and that was the lawsuit was about.
The only issue that I still have is if you go back to the letter that I received, well, I'm sure all of us received December the 1st, 2020. And that was from the former mayor, and it talked about the election. Since the election is only a week away, this will not change how the city is actually operated. And they were talking about the fiscal year 2022 budget. That budget that we received for 2022 did not have some of the positions that we are discussing. And I guess I'm confused as well. And because how can we keep discussing positions that were not a part of that budget when the sitting judge in this whole case that we keep not wanting to talk about has said that we are to refrain from doing? I mean, and Attorney Andre Valley. I mean, help me to understand that, because although we're not talking about a base pay ordinance, that's true. We are still talking about a budget where we have inserted the very positions that are a part of that base pay ordinance that we're not supposed to be dealing with.
Correct.
If I understand correctly.
That's exactly the way I feel too.
We have, to my knowledge, you hadn't inserted any positions that you're talking about in the lawsuit. The base pay ordinance was simply a mechanism that caused this base pay ordinance was simply a mechanism that was accountable as to what the positions are in the city. You had a chief of staff before. I don't know what other positions you were talking about, but you had positions before. You renamed positions and et cetera in this budget. And the issue is the authority of the city council. You're always in charge of the finances. A judge cannot tell you how to vote, and a lawyer can't tell you how to vote as it relates to the city finances. The question in this before the body: is your budget reasonable? Is it financial? Does it comply with state law? And those are the issues that the council should focus on. Are those issues? Because elsewise, a judge or a plaintiff would be telling you, this is how you have to vote, and you have to represent your constituents, and no one can tell you exactly how to vote.
And I thank you for that, and I appreciate that, because I know you're right. I know that no judge can tell me how to prepare or do the budget or decide on what the budget and all that other stuff, and I understand that. I guess I'm choosing to stand on the side of caution. And if we are going to develop a budget, I'm just back to it makes a whole lot more sense to me to develop a budget that has a lot more money left to work with versus, that just makes more fiscal sense to me. So
I understand. I understand it is your duty, Ms. Miller and the rest of the city council. It is your duty to make sure you operate in the most fiscally sound way as possible. And your duty to look at each one of these line items and vote what you feel is best interest of the city. And so the city council has two primary duties: finance and real property. And the finance is the issue that's before you all now. When I say finance, every aspect of finance and how you want to regulate, what you want to fund, et cetera. Those are the issues that are before you now. There's a motion and a second on the table. You all can, Mr. Ether said, you all can discuss whatever. If this time, if you want to ask them to amend and take something out, you still can do so. I think he was trying for expediency's sake to get the discussion going.
And actually, Ms. Miller, I agree with you, but Mr. Ether just took the groundskeeper out, so that pushes us over $100 some $1,000 surplus now. Since taking the groundskeeper out, that pushes us up. What Dr. Miller had was positions that he wasn't unsure about. So that the budget now pushes us up to $100 and probably $5,000 of a surplus. Because, am I correct, Dr. Miller? Those salaries that you didn't get the job descriptions on, as his is that we're cutting people we already got. So the savings will be different now because it's still the people that are employed by the city. He didn't know that they exist. Am I correct, Dr. Miller?
Well, let me clarify that. So in the budget that I received yesterday, that foreman position was documented like a new position. I obviously have no intentions, or in my heart had no intention of terminating any fire, street, sanitation. Lord knows we need more street, fire, and sanitation.
Yes,
we
sir.
don't need fire in anybody. We need more fire, street, and sanitation. So yes, if what I'm hearing you is correct, that those are currently existing positions, and those people are moving with a newly branded title.
Yes, sir.
Then yes.
And so what it brings our surplus is to $107,200. So that's by cutting the groundskeeper out puts us there. So I mean, so we had a comfortable mark because Mr. Miller, as I said, as he just stated, he didn't know that was like that. So I wish you all be comfortable now because we're having $107,200 surplus. So I wish you all, I would hope that you all would come aboard and see what we did. Thank you, Mr. Anthony, and I thank you all with the groundskeeper. I mean, Dr. Miller said he'll try to get us some help with that. So I'm hoping that you all will come aboard now that you see that.
I mean, can somebody explain to me what was the thoughts behind reducing the assistant fire chief's position's salary?
To me, I was looking at the same thing about
what is the police assistant chief making?
Nothing.
Okay, so we don't have that. That's right, because he's
Right.
gonna choose his own.
So
his assistant is gonna be $45,000.
Well, the assistant chief.
That's not really a comparable salary for an assistant.
Well, the assistant it don't exist on the police department. So
yeah,
zero.
but we said he's probably gonna hire one eventually.
But we'll have to come back to you all for that decision.
I understand. But I'm just thinking about what's comparable in line typically for an assistant position, 45.
I mean, yes, sir.
It doesn't seem like a comparable assistant salary, but okay.
Yes, sir. So, any more discussion? Madam Clerk, would you call the roll?
Miller,
No.
Harris,
Yes.
St. Columbia,
No.
Etherly,
Yes.
Davis,
Yes.
Dr. Miller. Miss Miller.
No.
All right, it's a 3-3. The mayor will break the tie. Mayor Franklin,
Yes.
thank you.
If there's nothing else, Ms. St. Columbia, could you get a motion to move to adjourn?
I think he will. I'd like to make a motion that we adjourn.
Second.
Call on Madam Clerk.
Dr. Miller,
Yes.
Mr. Etherly,
Yes.
Mr. St. Columbia, Ms. Harris,
Yes.
Ms. Miller,
Yes.
motion carries.
Be safe out here and thank y'all so much for joining me. Have a good evening.
All right, y'all have a good day.